Welcome back to the channel. My name is Brad, SuperCoach Pro. Now I am doing a little profile on Graham and why it is possible to go early on him. And I want to talk about English and another player in a second, but I want to do the Will Graham thing first. I got cut off by a phone call and I did not need that at the time. So, all right, Will Graham is the player on the agenda tonight. Drafted by the Suns, of course. Academy player taken by this year's draft. He went at pick 26 to match a bid from the Crows. Now, it says he's 18-year-old, shifted from midfield to halfback in the recent years, blah, blah, blah. So, rebounding halfback with speed and exceptional ball use. So, these are two ticks Dimmer would love, right? So, this is a player that I'm happy to go early on because I've done a little bit of a study piece on him. Now he's averaging 16.5 disposals for the Allies at 80% efficiency. So he's good by foot, good by hand. That's perfect. Speed and power. Was ranked second for 20-meter sprint and vertical jump, and being third in the vertical jump at 95 centimeters. So he's got a good profile of like his athletic ability, is what I meant to say. So it is late at night, so I am fumbling. And then this is the other thing that plays into hands. So when we can see here, Will Graham got 49% CBAs last week. It meant Flanders, where was Flanders? He dropped to 0%. So he's taking Flanders' role because Flanders have moved back to the halfback flank. So it means if Flanders stays there, Will Graham's probably pretty safe. And it means it keeps Sexton out the side. So it's basically Flanders takes Sexton's spot and Will Graham takes Flanders' spot. That's how the coaching panel, in my head, are working this out. Now, the only thing that is concerning, I'll have a look at his profile before we look at the concerning factor. So, 186, 81 kilos is pretty good for a midfielder, in my opinion, anyway. So, explosive ball winner, blah, blah, blah. Most accustomed to playing midfield. Yeah, we've gathered that. So, what is his strength? Athleticism, clean hands, competitiveness, contest work, power, strength, improvements, endurance, excuse me, and scoreboard impact. I'm averaging about 2 coughs per video. Not a good stat. They're basically 2 clangers. So look, good profile on him. CBAs, yep, that's what we want to see. He had 17 disposals in his first game, 8 kicks, 9 handballs, 2 marks, 3 tackles, 5 clearances. So that's above average. If this was his season thing, no worries. Doesn't say too much more. It's already stuff we know here. So he's only 18, turns 19 in July. Don't think that's too relevant, to be honest. Now, his VFL stats is something I wanted to have a look at as well. Now, he played the year before as underage, I assume this is. So that's why I feel like his fantasy points are low. It doesn't give you time on ground, which really does not help. So, yeah, look, I'm not too fussed with these numbers. Even if it was a full game, he would have been like 18, or 17 turning 18. So yeah, not too worried about him. And it was the back end of the season, so maybe he was just 18 around here. Anyway, against Richmond's VFL side in round one, he accumulated 28 disposals, 14 kicks, 14 handballs, 7 marks, and 4 tackles, and scored 104 in fantasy. So not too sure what that would convert to in, say, a SuperCoach format, but it does say that even if he does get dropped, he's probably likely to accumulate enough ball to get back named into the side. Now, why are you going for him early? All right, there's only 2 reasons you would be going early on him. One is because you need D6 at best 18, and Sanders has killed it for you, and you want another rookie to eliminate Sanders' score. Or you've got, let's say you've got Reed, Caulfield, Pink, etc., those sort of players on your bench, and you just want someone to play this week. I don't mind going early. The other reason is, let's say you go into your team and you've got him in the back line. In 2 weeks' time, you'll be able to put Matt Roberts in the back line, swing him into the midfield bench, and then worst case scenario becomes a loop where you can loophole M8 for the season or D6, no, sorry, D7 and D8, depending on your matchup. So at worst case, he's actually pretty valuable anyway. And if you go early and you score as well, you're up on the competition. If he doesn't and he gets dropped the week after, you've got a perfect loop for best 22. So for me, if your cash gen's all right, it's not a bad play. Especially if you're getting rid of a dead rookie like Caulfield, there's no harm in it. Could be waiting on the bubble, but there is also players I'm looking at next week that could go off, like Georgiades, Comden, and there's another player I'm thinking about, Richmond player, but he won't be in till after his bye, and it's McAuliffe. And then there's some other guys that could be a smoky. Excuse me, that's my third cough for this video. I do apologise. I don't have COVID, and yeah, so Graham for me is a lock from my side specifically. I wouldn't be doing it if you had a rookie like Massimo because he's still got money to make and he's not on the bubble just yet, Will Graham, and could get dropped. But I'm going to take the punt. Now, the only thing that does concern me about Will Graham profile is his time on ground, but I want to show you an example in a second. So his time on ground here, really low, right? 66%, and Reed was 56%, but Humphrey was the one that got subbed. So, look, I'm hoping Will Graham isn't sub or doesn't get subbed, and I'm hoping Swallow remains as the sub. But I'm not too sure. You know, at any given week, Berry could be subbed out. Ewan could be. I'm not really sure with Dimmer. He doesn't really have a certain position he likes to sub out, but he does give the kids a crack for a couple games. And look, he played Castagna for so long, so who knows what he'll do. He also played Pickett and McIntosh, so he might even play Will Graham. I mean, at least Will Graham's a decent player. So, yeah, for me, it's just his TOG that needs improving. Now, this is what gives me confidence. Now, they're two different coaches, so don't get me wrong. And we're not going to really talk too much about Bevo. But if you have a look down here, time on ground has gone up for Sam Darcy, and 76%. Before the week before, I think it was like 54% or 56%. So this says he's building nicely and his scores should remain in the 80s from here on out. He's the perfect F6 for now. So I wouldn't be going too hard on your forward line. I wouldn't be stressing too much just yet because these players like Dempsey, Darcy can do a role. Comden could be a good pickup as well. So we're okay in the forward line for now, and hopefully some DPP comes in round 12. You know, midfielders get played forward, etc. So that's what I wanted to cover off because the phone call interrupted that one. The player research. Now, if you're bringing in Meek, you might be doing it for this reason, to grab Timmy English because he's got a high break even here and he even dropped a stinker at 58. So he might come down. I'm not sure if I said this in the video before, but to under 600, maybe 580. And if Meek goes well, there's only two scenarios. Sean talked about this too. Meek scores really well, makes you 100 to 150K. You sideways to an English, or even you sideways to a Dawson. I don't hate that. Let's say Dawson bounces back and they're about the same price. Yeah, you've used two trades to bring him in, but if it hasn't cost you much and it's only cost you a couple of rookies, it's not a bad stepping stone for points on field in best 18, and also the fact that Gorn's not playing next week. So let's say Meek gets 280s over the next 2 weeks. He scored 160. And you missed it and you don't have Gorn, and Gorn scored 138 the week before, you're still 20 points up in the ruck line over Gorn owners. So that's how the math I'm thinking about is I need Meek to now outscore a 138 over 2 weeks. And if he doesn't and his cash gen sucks, he'll just sit on my R3 bench. And if you've already traded out Grundy for him, yeah, well, good luck. As long as you got a bailout option, I'm all for it. So that is my little Will Graham profile. I'm not sure it's too depthy, but it's all I could dig up was these couple things. These things I look at. CBAs are pretty relevant for this week too. We'll have a look again. I think Hawthorn's matchup will suit him more. Like this was against Giants. He had 17 disposals. So, you know, it's a pretty tough midfield to be playing well, and you got to factor out he only had one disposable in the last quarter. So if he kept on going, that 67 might have been at 85 if he wasn't quite in the last. So, yeah, that's it for the Will Graham profile. Smashing out the content. Do give a like and a sub. I'll be trying to smash out more. Probably won't do too many review games, but when I do, it'll just be every now and then when I can. So hopefully you guys have a good one. Like for more content, and I will leave that video there. Hopefully you guys have a good weekend. Go the Tigers. Hopefully we win against West Coast. So